you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Ron Wallace here with Ballin' Down South Sports Network. I have on here with me today another coach, high school coach, head football coach here on the interview today. I can tell you he's here in the Baldwin County area. He's been here for quite some time. He's not new to the coaching realm. He worked his way up from assistant coach all the way up to head coach at several different high schools. But he's over at Spanish Fort High School. I can tell you, I'm gonna go ahead and bring him on. And it's no other chance to get him on. It's like trying to put out a APB out on him to get him on this network and reach out to him. Let me introduce the Spanish Fort head football coach Ben Blackmon. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing good, Ron. Thanks for having me on.
Man, it's been good. Today is great weather day. Like I told you earlier, Dad, you don't like you've been outside too much. You're not sweating that right there in your office.
I got me a big old hat that keeps the sun off of me right here. You see, it keeps the sun off of me, keeps the sweat down a little bit. But yeah, now we've had a good workout this morning, and got to bring our kids in at 7 a.m. and we're out by about 10:45, 11, um, and they're on their day, off to their jobs and things like that for the summer.
Coach, you might need to get you one of them Nick Saban hats. You know, he be having like a sombrella or something out there, one of them straw hats out there on that field.
Yeah, yeah, I might need to look into that one. Uh,
Well, Coach, just so the people that don't know exactly who you are, talk a little bit about your playing experiences, and then when you
yeah.
first got into high school football coaching.
Yeah, so I've been around the game ever since I was 5 years old, playing the game, and ended up playing at Robert E. Lee in Montgomery, and then went on to play at Troy University for Larry Blakeney. Uh, there, I played quarterback in 98, 99, and then graduated. And my head coach in high school was Spencer McCracken, and he offered me a job right out of college to start coaching quarterbacks at Opelika High School. So spent 6 years there, great 6 years, learned a lot. A lot of the stuff I still do in our program is what I learned from Spencer McCracken. He's a Hall of Famer. And, then at 28 years old, I thought I was ready. I was going to go be a head coach. And I tell you what, you catch some humble pie pretty quick. So I started to be a head coach at Greenville High School in Greenville, Alabama. I was there for 4 years, and we were able to be successful. And after 4 years, I felt like it was time to move on, and took the job at Gulf Shores. Spent 4 years there, and then entering my sixth season here at Spanish Fort. So those are my stops in terms of the coaching, and really enjoy it. Love every day spending with these kids, teaching them the game of football, but teaching them the game of life as well. So that's what my passion's about.
Teaching the game of life, that's what it's all about. So, Coach, you guys last season with 9-5, 5-3 in the region. You guys got to the championship game. You guys couldn't pull it off there in 6A. Tell me, how were you guys able, to beat opponents game after game, night after night, to be able to reach the 6A championship?
Well, last year was it was kind of a trendy season. We started off 0-2, first time in 5 years at Spanish Fort. We started off 0-2, and then we made some roster changes and just kept working as a team. Really proud of our kids that they kept working and kept working and getting better, and just tried to put a week on top of a week. And as we hit the playoffs, we were one of the hottest teams in the state when it counted the most. And we came up a point shy of a state championship, and really proud of our kids and how they responded throughout the season, to really buy in and become that team that it takes to win.
Now, talk about a little bit about some of the kids that that's going on, moving away from your program, going on to college. Talk a little bit about those guys. One one
Yeah,
one guy in one guy in particular, Chris Abrams Drain.
yeah. Probably, in my opinion, and I know I'm just one person. In my opinion, he was the best player in high school football last year.
Wow.
He was a finalist for Mr. Football, and I know how that's voted on and all that, but I don't think there was another kid in the state, and even the coaches that we played against would probably agree with me that controlled the game at the highest level that we play at like he did, and he could just change the game. and he's a very special talent. Missouri's getting a heck of a football player out of him, and I'm looking forward to watching Chris and seeing his growth at the collegiate level. So um, he was a big time player for us, and one that we'll miss. We also lost Brady Wilson on the offensive line. He was a 3-year starter for us, and he's signing with UAB. UAB is getting a steal. He is a
Wow.
really, really good football player. Um, been around the game his whole life, and just like I said, been a starter for us since he was a sophomore. We lost him, and Carlos Johnson's going over to play at South Alabama as a D lineman. He was really big plug in the middle. Mitchell Babs. We had a really good senior class last year that just kept fighting and kept fighting, and we finally put the pieces together and were able to be successful.
Now I know recently or as of late, one your quarterback has been getting some pretty good looks, pretty good offers from some big name schools. Talk a little bit about that gentleman.
Well, that would be Jackson Burkhalter from last year. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
he's redeclared and is going to a prep school, and is actually going to play another year of prep ball, and then he's been getting some offers from Ole Miss and Nebraska. Um, so I'm really happy for Jackson. I think the world of Jackson, and he's definitely a great kid and a good football player.
Well, talk about some of the guys you got returning on your roster. I know
Okay.
you guys had a lot of kids out there on that field that you interchanged in and out. But just talk about some of the guys you got coming back.
Yeah, I think last year we were pretty young in certain spots, and this year those kids and all uh, the amount of reps and experience that they got last year is going to, hopefully pay dividends for us. Our running backs are back, and Johnny Morris and Zachariah Hickson. We got a really, really dynamic kid in Aaron Threat that's going to help us. Um, wide receiver wise, Mario Montgomery's back. He played, last year, started for us as a sophomore. Jake Godfrey started for us as a freshman. Trayvon Reed is a freshman. Micah Gaffney's coming back. He's been getting a lot of offers, Division One offers. He's actually committed to Virginia, and he's a corner. Then you got a safety in Carl Fontroy, started as a sophomore. We got four offensive linemen back that played a tremendous amount, and Jack Myers and Hunter Manley, Michael Crawford, and Deshaun Dobson. Um, so we have some talent. Our inside linebacker, Tyshawn Calvin, and Cassius Taylor, and Peyton Solomon. Um, and we have some talent back that got a lot of experience last year. Early, we were very, very young. Early in the season, as the season went on, they got some experience and got comfortable, and we were able to put it together, like I said. So.
Now, coach, I know you got those guys coming back. Like you're gonna have a young team. What do you basically look for in a kid? If you know if that kid is definitely going to be an awesome athlete for you, what are some of the criteria? What's basically your coaching philosophy to get those guys to come in every day and produce on your field for you?
Well, number one, I think the kid to play this game, this kid's got to be tough. He's got to be tough minded, and he's got to be tough physically. I mean, it is a tough sport. It checks your guts at the door, And secondly, I think you got to be humble, because every snap you're in a fight with the opposing team, and so you've got to be able to be tough, be humble, be resilient, be able to overcome those successes and failures on a daily play, because you ain't gonna win every battle in the game. You just got to win more than the other guy against you, and we realize that. I think you got to be high character, and then you got to really, really put time into and be dedicated and committed to learning your craft and honing your skills of your craft. So those are some things that we talk to our kids about. If you want to be great, you got to do these things, and number one, I think it starts with toughness across the board, all the way. You know, as I was saying, tough people win. So
So now, so how are the kids, acting with, the different guidelines you guys got to follow because of the COVID situation? And what are some of those guidelines that you guys have put in place over at Spanish Fort?
yeah, they've been handling it pretty well. We're basically following the guidelines set forth by our Board of Education, and that is to try to maintain physical distance when you can, and if you can't, you've got a facial covering over your face, such as if you're in the weight room, you cover your face. When you go to spot, um, you spread them out on the field when you're exercising, so they're not right on top of each other. Um, Constant temperatures every morning, checking them in, asking them questions. Hey, have you been around anybody? Do you feel sick? Are you nauseated? Have you lost your sense of taste?
Yeah.
Those kind of things. We're having to check those in daily and then record their temperatures. And then, we're giving them the Germex, Perel, all that stuff in their hands. But when they get there, plus when they enter the weight room, so we're trying to take every precautionary measure we can. We're sanitizing the building when they come inside the weight room. We're spraying it down when they come and when they leave in between groups and things like that. So uh, we're doing the best we can to minimize the exposure.
Now your classification 6A has kind of changed a little bit. You guys definitely now have McGill in the 6A, who you guys played a couple of times in the regular season, but now they're actually in 6A. So how do you think you got your approach going to be going to those guys? You know they've always got some heavy hitters over there at McGill.
Yeah, Coach Hill by far is one of the best in the business. I mean, he does such a great job of getting his guys prepared, and they work hard. They're tough. They don't hardly get out of position. He does a great job of that. He's definitely going to be a region foe now that um, we're going to have to execute at a high level when we play those guys. The good thing about it is for us, our kids for the last 4 to 6 years have played those guys. I mean, we've always, played McGill, and so I think our kids will go out and compete. We've played them in freshman and JV and in varsity. So I think if there's any team in the region that has experience playing McGill, it would be us. And so we feel like our kids can go and compete, pretty much against anybody.
Well, Coach, once you guys do get back on that field, hope we can capture some of that, broadcast a couple of your games over there on the hill over there. But if there's anything that you would want to tell a kid right now, getting ready to play their last season of high school football, what would you tell those kids?
Yeah, don't take it for granted. This is the best time of your life. I know everybody right now is looking towards, playing college ball and doing that. And that's great. It pays for your education, get your college degree and all that. But don't pass up the experience of high school, because high school football and college football is two totally different entities. You play high school because you play for the pride in your community and your team and all of that, and you play because you love the game. And you get to college, it becomes more of a business. Hey, they're paying for your scholarship.
Right.
And so it is a little different mentality wise. So I would just tell those guys, hey, enjoy your time here, make the most of your moments, and work your tail off to be as good as you can, and be a master of your craft.
Ladies and gentlemen, Spanish Fort head football coach Ben Blackmon on the Ball and Down South Sports Network. Thank you for coming on today, Coach.
Thank you, Ron. Thanks for having me.